Hey guys, this is Aditya from Team Uncasd. That's my friend Ankur. And today we are going to be talking about a documentary on Netflix called Unacknowledged from the year 2017.
This one I am really excited about. I saw it again, like probably the day it came out. I don't know how I found it, but it's just in my suggestions. So I don't know. Good job, Netflix, I guess. But yeah, I really like watching documentaries like these, which kind of have sort of a connect to whether it's space or tech or conspiracies in any way. So I think this is one of the best mixes I've seen of all those things in one. It is not as serious as you would expect a documentary about such things to be. So it's kind of like just somebody walking you through the events that went on in their life and the things they saw. But Dr. Greer on the show has done a really good job of that. For him, it's something that's very close to his art, and he gets emotional about it as well. But for me, it was just fascinating looking at the kind of information that's available out there. So yeah, I'd like I said, I'd seen it pretty early on, and I recommended it to Adi last week, and I think he has since watched it. So yeah, Adi, what do you think?
Yeah, so as you already mentioned, it talks about it's a mix of it's not conspiracy. You can't call it conspiracy because it's on document and on paper. So it's not really a conspiracy related, but a lot of science and tech stuff, which the world is actually not knowing about. Like all we know about is you know what we hear on news and media is what the information we get and we believe it. But this documentary just like uh, puts that right in front of you that that's not the information that is available. Like there are different things that are happening not just on our planet but on different planets as well, which was amazing. And there are a lot of talks about the usual conspiracy theorist favorites like JFK, Marilyn Monroe, Tesla. Facts and things that you see and the records that are put in front of you, you just can't ignore it. It's happening. The world is changing, and there is a lot of stuff that is beyond our imagination that is actually going on and being hidden from us.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
that
not
was really
boring, right? Like most documentaries you see, you'll watch 3 hours of the documentary, and maybe there is 40 minutes worth of good stuff that you'll actually remember. This is like in an hour and 45 minutes, you have about hour and a half of just stuff that is like amazing, that you'll really be intrigued about. Some people be paranoid. I guess everybody's a little paranoid anyway, so that's kind of where this really hits you. I think for someone like me who has seen a lot of these documentaries and conspiracy theory shows, I think a lot of this stuff I already knew. It was just like kind of a good refresher. Just the way they spoke about it, I think was different than most documentaries you see. There was no sensationalization, so to speak. Like every documentary you see, they're like, oh, this is what's happening. This guy just like takes it as a story as to what happens, and he explains both sides of it. Like, okay, they're hiding this, they shouldn't, but then there are also people on the show telling you exactly why they're hiding it. It might create mass hysteria, or just like people are just going to deny it, or react adversely to it. But like they're both parts of that, or both sides of that coin that they show. And I think I really like that perspective, because most of the conspiracy ones you see are just from the perspective, oh, everything is a conspiracy, and they're not telling you this, they're not telling you that. The reasoning is kind of just like shown as something of an excuse. But I think in this one, at least, all the reasons that people in the government positions were giving were, well, you could relate to them and sounded like, okay, if I was in that position, and if my life was in danger or something like that, I might do it like that as well. So yeah, we're trying really hard not to give out any spoilers on this one. It's really hard because, like I said, hour and a half out of 1 hour 45 minutes is just like facts and what happened, and it's really good. I'd seen a documentary before from Dr. Greer, which was kind of when he started his project, and this is kind of the culmination of all the things that he put together, and it's just awesome.
that that portion wherein they say that Earth is actually lagging 100 years behind in terms of technology from where it should be. is the most interesting part of it. Like a few are profiteering from it.
Yeah, like about the profiteering, they're trying to, maintain the world order as is, and obviously whoever is the top is at the top is it's natural for them to want to do that, right? So basically, like almost every other documentary you see, they're talking about how the world order really hasn't changed for almost 100 years, right? You
Yeah,
want new tech and all of that, till the early 1900s. The world order, sometimes in the 1200, in the medieval times, or and then after that Renaissance, whether India was at top, China was at top, and then Europe was at top. But now it looks like, at least in the next few years or the past 100 years, so much in tech has changed, but the world order is pretty much the same. And I think most of the documentaries point to that, and that's what they try to preserve. And some of these things, if they go out, you'll see new, whether tech emerging, or just new, countries emerging out of it as new world leaders, and that might be problematic for some, countries. Now again, they're both perspective, like, okay, that's good, because if that didn't happen, there would be chaos everywhere. And on the other side, it's about human rights, and like, okay, we're supposed to know this, right? They're supposed to tell us this. So it's a good discussion, I think, overall in the show, just about that. But yeah, again, going back, I would keep going back to the fact, like, just the facts, and the kind of, information he's giving to you. And most of it is not even secret. Like, he says this is on disclosure. It's on the government website, or NASA's website, or FBI's website. It's just disclosed information that people just, don't read. Whenever there is like an agreement on Facebook or whatever, you just click I agree,
yeah,
right? Are you the 67 odd pages? No, you're not. So it's the same thing, right? There's so much information on there, but as part of his project, which is called the Disclosure Project, he's gone in and looked at all of that information. That's really amazing. And yeah, I mean, it's not a series that we would call it binge worthy, but definitely, like, I wouldn't get up before it's done. It's really, really good.
yeah. I mean, like as you said, like the documents are available now for the general public as well. But the question is how many do actually read it, as you already mentioned. So the best example in the documentary is when he shows the document wherein the French government wanted to communicate with the alien life forms, and he shows the letter signed by Sarkozy, who is no
Yeah.
longer the French president, and then he says that I had to make sure that him and the people who are involved are actually out of the harm's way before I could actually publish this. So that's basically like how much the government has to cover up, because and how at risk the people are who actually have the knowledge of this. Like they are putting their lives at risk and putting these facts out in the real world so that the people can know. But then again, the question arises like, do people actually want to know it? Like
Yeah.
for the fun of it, yeah, maybe. But do they really want to utilize it? It's a question that he poses. Obviously he wants the new generation to think differently, like towards the end of the show he wants the new generation to think differently, to act differently on the information that's available, like instead of just protesting on stuff, try to find out what is available, and ask questions of the government to make sure that you are getting the right information from the government and not just you are being spoon fed from the media houses. So that's a beautiful point that they put out, wherein the media houses are all basically controlled by one single entity, one or two entities around the world. It's not just in the US or any developed countries. Across the world, the media houses are owned by like some few individuals, and they feed us the information that's required or by them to be put out there. And so no one's actually doing research. So that's the hope with which this documentary basically goes around. Like the new generation can actually go ahead and question the government and get the information that can lead us to a better life than all of this war and pity that is going around in the world. So that's a
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah, and
part.
I agree with your earlier point, right? Like, how many people do even want to know this? It's like, I've always been on the fence. Like, I obviously want to know. I find the stuff to be interesting, and but I don't know how many people will actually be able to deal with it, right? Not everybody, is on the same page as us. It might just be mass panic that is created. So, that's something that they have to think about, as well. It's not, yeah, there is some profiteering in there, but it's also just about how people will react, um, just with the thing that you have proof of. Say, for example, right now, the virus situation, there are a lot of people who are saying, okay, this is a hoax and it's not a bad thing, and people are lying to us and all of that. So like imagine when there's something that you can't even prove to
Yeah.
people and you disclose in some videos, like even the moon landing is considered to be fake, right? So any video you show right now, and this was in what, 69, 1969. It was really, man, I would assume it was harder than today to fake anything then. And
Obviously, yeah. Yeah.
now just in like you see all these movies and the graphics and all are so good you could fake anything. So I don't even know if people would believe it if it comes out. But yeah, it's all in fun, I think, at this point. And yeah, hopefully, like in the future, when we are watching amongst other shows, we would probably be coming back with some documentaries like this. I've seen a lot, so Adi, you'll get some recommendations from me every now and then, and it's like a quick watch. So for people who don't want to binge watch or spend 6 hours on something, it's like a quick 2 hour and a half thing that they could watch.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very quick watch, 1 hour 45 minutes approx. But the amount of content that's there, for a mind that's inclined towards research, there's a lot of content out there to read through, a lot of more development. But yeah, I mean, it's an amazing documentary. It's a lot of content in a very short period of time. And with the documentary proof, it's not just people talking about, these are people who have actually gone ahead and worked on these projects. And they are now coming out and wanting to give back to the world, knowing what they know. So yeah, definitely binge worthy. Binge worthy. It's not a show, but then if you have
Yeah.
2 hours of time,
Maybe
definitely go ahead and watch it. Yeah. So that's a verdict on Unacknowledged 2017, from 2017, available on Netflix. Not so popular, but we ended up watching it, so we are suggesting it to you. Hopefully, you like our suggestions. You can drop your other suggestions and comments on this video or any other video that you want us to do, on any other content or any other platform from which we want us to pick content. You can drop in the comments, and you can follow us on Instagram at the rate Team Uncased. So we'll try to binge watch another series or another documentary or a movie. Good, bad, ugly. We'll decide later. But yeah, hopefully we'll come back with more content and keep you guys entertained. So for now, this is Aditya signing off.
great. See you guys.
See you guys. Thank you.